Good evening, friends. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Dr. Adit, and today we are going to discuss about a quote by famous Persian poet, philosopher, and a spiritually awakened soul, Maulana Jalaluddin Rumi. Now, I am sure many of you must have heard its name, or some of you even might have read his quotes or his poems. And basically, he was a Persian poet and philosopher, and he's one of the most read poets, not only in Iran but all over the world. Even in the Western world, if you see in the countries like USA, Rumi is one of the most read poets. His works have been translated into different languages, including English, and he's one of the most read and most famous poets, even in the Western world. So, some time ago, I was just going through his quotes on Google, and I found this a very beautiful quote. So, I thought I would make a video on this quote only because this quote is related to uh, what we discuss on our YouTube channel. So I thought let's discuss what he wants to say through this quote in this video. So before we go further, friends, if you find my videos interesting, if you find my videos beneficial, then please share them with your friends, relatives, family members as much as possible, and please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. So, I will first read this quote to you. This quote is in Persian language or Farsi language. So, I'll just read that quote and then I will tell you what insight we can gain from this quote. So, this quote reads, تو با درون خود صلح کن جنگ در جهان پایان میپذیرد. Now, this quote is in Persian. So I will first tell you what the literal translation, word to word translation of this quote is. So what Maulana Rumi is saying here is that you establish peace, or what we call in Hindi as Sulah. So basically you establish peace with your inner world so that the battles in your outer world will automatically end. Okay, this is the literal translation of this quote. Now, by the word battle, of course, he is not referring to the battles which are fought with weapons. When he says battle, he means uh, basically the way with the way with which we deal with the outer world, or the way with which we respond to the outer world or stimuli from the outer world. So basically, what he wants to say here is that if we are able to stabilize our inner world, or if we are able to work upon our internal world, then we are able to better navigate our life through the external world. Now I'll tell you what this means. Now I'm sure almost all of us have experienced this situation at least once in our lifetime, that we deal with so many people in our life, day-to-day life, uh, and sometimes it happens that when we are talking to some person, that person says something or that person does something, and then we get triggered automatically. I mean, we get angry, we get irritated, which is quite, we can say, exaggerated, if we think about what that person has actually said or done. So, we get angry a lot and we get irritated a lot, and then later on, after some time, when our anger calms down, we realize that our anger or our irritation was out of proportion, right? That this much of anger or irritation was not warranted, considering the situation or considering what that person had actually said or done. So why this happens? Why does this happen? Why do we get triggered so easily and to such an extent? This happens because, see, what we think normally is that some other person or that other person's behavior is responsible. That person said something like this. That's why I got angry. This is our normal response, or this is how we normally think. So I'm not saying that that person or his behavior does not have any significant or does not have any contribution, of course it might have some contribution, but that contribution is very less. The majority stake in our response to that person's behavior is related to our inner emotional traumas. You know, basically what happens is we pass through some bad experiences, or we have had some bad or unwanted experiences in our past, maybe during our childhood or during our early adulthood. And you know, those experiences, they leave an imprint on our mind. And some of those, like in many of the experiences, we forget and we are able to move on. But some of those experiences, they are such influential that they cast a very deep imprint on our mind or on our emotions. And then what happens is, somehow we don't try to heal those emotional wounds or those emotional traumas, and then we just move on with our life. And then after say few months, few years, if we find that some person is behaving in a way or is saying something which is triggering that old emotional trauma from few years ago, we get irritated. You know, or sometimes it so happens that some person's behavior or some person's words remind us of that original person who had said something bad to us few years ago, which had resulted in this emotional trauma originally. And then just because this person now is reminding us of that person, somehow we get irritated and we project our anger on this person in the present. So the reason for such response, as Maulana Rumi rightly says, is not related to our outer world, but it is related to our inner world. By the word inner world, he means that our state of mind, our emotional state, our emotional well-being, mental well-being. So if we have such unresolved emotional traumas or unresolved, emotions which have somehow got suppressed, or we have repressed them over a period of time, and we have not paid attention to them, or we have not tried to resolve them, then somehow, those emotions, those injuries, they remain inside our brain. And then when they get triggered from some situations in the external world, then we throw out an exaggerated response, which might be in the form of anger or hatred or irritation, which is of course, as we realize later, is extraordinary and out of proportion to the to what that situation actually warranted. So basically what we need to do here is, as he says, that you establish peace with your inner world. Basically we have to sit with ourselves and resolve those emotional traumas or those bad emotional experiences. Because for example, if I have some injury on my hand, okay, I have some injury here, and instead of, normally what I should do is I should do some dressing, or I should apply some band-aid, so that that injury, that area of that injury is not touched, or it is not affected continuously until that heals. But now instead of that, if I keep that injury open, and if I'm just doing like this, if I'm pushing it now and then every day, so instead of that injury getting better, that injury will get worse. And not only will it get worse, but it will not heal, because I'm continuously irritating it, I'm continuously bothering it, and it will cause me a lot of pain. Of course, an open wound, if I just touch, even if I touch that open wound, that causes a lot of pain, right? So what applies to the physical wounds, the same thing applies to our emotional and mental wounds also. If our emotional wounds or our mental wounds or mental traumas from the past are not healed, or we have not made efforts to heal them, then eventually they remain open wounds, just like this wound on the hand. And when someone behaves or someone says something which has indirectly anything to do with that trauma, we get triggered automatically. Sometimes it might happen that that other person may not have any intention to hurt us, or may not have any intention to insult us. He or she just behaving in the way, in their own way, right? So, but just because that behavior somehow triggers our emotional trauma, which is unrelated to this person right now, we get angry or we get irritated, and then that person sometimes doesn't understand why we are so angry with that person. So that further complicates the matters. So basically, that's what Maulana Rumi is saying here, that you try to resolve your emotional traumas, your inner mental traumas basically, and you take efforts for that. You sit with yourself. It will take some time, so give that time to yourself, but make sure that those emotional traumas are healed in due course of time, so that your response to the outer world will be balanced and will be thoughtful. You will not just react to the world, but you will respond thoughtfully. Or even if someone says anything, you can say quite a bit hurting or insulting, you will not get triggered immediately, because your mind will be calm and healed and balanced, and so you will think and then you will react to what that person is doing or saying. So this is what the great poet Maulana Rumi wanted to say through these quotes. And basically, I love his quotes because if you have read his quotes are not very long. They are just one liners or two liners or maybe three or four liners, but they carry a lot of meaning and we have a lot to learn from those quotes. And since I know Persian language to some extent, I feel very fortunate that I am able to read his quotes in his own, I mean, in the original Farsi language in which he wrote it. So that's why I thought that I should share, insights about this quote here, because they are related to our topics which we discuss here. So friends, that's what about today's video. If you like this video, then do share it with your friends, colleagues, family members, and please like, share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. See you in next video. Bye bye. Good day. Take care. God bless you all. Good night.